Here we are. It's Wednesday, and it wouldn't be a live stream without some sort of little thing happening. Uh, we're here. We're doing what we can to make this technology work, but inevitably, some little thing happens. We'll talk about that later because that's what we're here for. Welcome to Flex. Adapt with Intent. My name is Dina Hall, and we are contemplating performing and visual arts during uncertain times. And tonight we're going to talk about performing arts in particular. My guest is Daniel Faga, production manager and technical director at Sellersville Theater. And I think he's ready to come on board. Won't you please welcome Dan to the webcast? Hey,
Hello.
nice to
Hello,
see
Dina.
you.
Great to see you too.
Yeah,
Thank you very much for having me. It's
yeah, you're welcome.
I've been enjoying the conversations you've been having with your guests.
Thank you.
Thank you for
It's
doing this.
it's all over the mark right now, but I'm trying to open the community and make the conversation a little bit broader. Um,
Yeah, thank you for
you know,
doing that.
yeah,
It's hard work putting on a show. I know that.
it's hard. It's hard being
Yeah.
the what are we? We're the engineer.
Yeah.
We're the tech crew. We're the
Your
producer,
producer,
host.
engineer, host. That's the I want to talk to you about hosting because
Ooh,
that's, after you're doing all this, then you got to have your head put together to be able to have an intelligent conversation with somebody. So
exactly.
that's something I've seen you do very nicely now for
Oh,
how many episodes have you done? Is this
well, we started June 17th, so I think
okay?
I can quickly count this. Six maybe we've done already. I
Six. That's
think
that was going to be my guess.
yeah, one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're close to that. So it gets a little easier every time. Um, my
Yeah.
my mistakes are less each time.
Hmm.
There was not too long ago. I sat here wondering, what's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong?
Yes.
20 minutes. What's wrong? I never hit the go live button.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Ah,
I had a very similar experience. So I also do a show over on the Sellersville Theater Facebook page called Sound Booth Sessions.
yep.
It's a live stream concert show, and there's also a talking component. It's a concert and conversation with an artist. Um, and as we experienced just 5 minutes ago, there's been some major technical malfunction in I mean 95 if not 100% of the shows. Um, but you know what that means, Dean, is it means that we're pushing the edge
Mhm.
of our knowledge, right? We're at the
Yeah.
edge, and every show is to the very extent of our technical ability, which I'll tell you what, that's a good place to be, I think.
Yeah. I feel like I'm an intern, constant,
Yes,
constant
right,
intern right now.
right.
Yeah. My next
Yeah.
my next step is going to be to try to get the guest's audio coming through and mix it
Okay,
with mine.
I see.
I don't know if I can or not.
Well, I know you're using this StreamYard,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm not familiar with, so I don't know. I don't even know how to
Yeah.
talk to you about how you would even do that.
Well, I
But
might not, but we're gonna find
yeah,
out. You
yeah.
you had Christine Havrilla on with you on the sound booth session not
Oh
long
yeah,
ago,
sure did.
and yeah, and she's one of my, well, she's a friend, longtime
Mm-hmm.
friend, and also just someone who is constantly pushing. She's pushing the envelope
Mm-hmm.
too. So I'm
Absolutely.
so she's gonna. I've started and it's taken a couple of months to get this off the ground. Similarly, probably I tried this back in April,
Mm-hmm.
something for Godfrey Daniels, similar to what you're doing with your sound booth sessions,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to make this the same thing, music and a conversation,
Sure.
similar to how I was when in better days hosting live from Godfrey Daniels on
Mm-hmm.
WDIY. I would have people
Right.
come in and we would do the same thing on radio. Now I
Yes.
want to take it to this platform,
Sure.
and so Chris is going to be the second guest on that. The first one went. It really didn't go well because we don't know where the audio issues were,
It's good to
and
have a
it's water
an
under the bridge.
understanding and a friendly guinea pig for those
Yes,
first few.
yes,
Our first attempt here was with a friend of mine, Carsey Blanton, and I mean, it took ages to get it up and running. It's like I couldn't find, just as simple as like finding where the actual go live button is on the screen. Right, your
yeah.
first time, you don't know where it is. My camera was out of focus for the whole concert, so you couldn't even really see them. It was just well, you have to be willing to make the mistake, right? You
Yeah,
have
yeah,
to
yeah.
take the leap into the first one and know it's going to be a dumpster fire, and then move it
Go from there.
slowly,
Yes.
and just hope your audience is going to be understanding and grow along with you, because
Yes.
then they get to look back and see how far you've come, right?
This is true.
After you've done it well.
I do want to say before we go any further, I really like your lighting. You're very handsome. Your lighting is incredible
Thank
right
you,
now.
Dina.
No,
That's very
you're
nice.
welcome.
That's
I
I
don't.
appreciate that. Well, I'll tell you.
That's part of it.
Thank you. Is lighting is a huge part of it, and
Yeah.
one of the major things that I had to learn coming into this world of the live streaming, was like there were all these parts of it that I kind of knew a little bit about, but not enough, like just enough to be dangerous. Okay, so it's like I sort of had the audio part. As a sound engineer, I'm a sound engineer first, and then at Sellersville Theater here, I became the technical director. So then in that role, had to recently learn a bit about lighting, and then I've lost you. Where did you go, Dina? You there?
I'm here. I let
Oh,
you
you're there.
have.
You
I
just
let you
gave me.
have the phone.
I didn't know if that was a. I didn't know if that was like the whole thing shutting down or not. But okay,
No.
you're just giving
Go
me full
ahead.
screen. All right, I'm
Say it.
holding court. Um, where was I? Okay, so yeah, the things that had to learn was okay. So we started off in a place of where it's like we had pretty good audio, pretty good broadcast audio, and then it was like, okay, now how do we level this up? And right out of the gate, the first thing that was apparent is, we have these cameras on our computers that are okay, right? And those cameras can be used to put on a pretty good show, but they need an enormous amount of light in order to be maximized to their fullest potential. So everybody's camera on your phone and on your laptop is way better than you think it is. You just have to like jack up the light way up, and it'll expose down, it'll adjust its exposure to compensate for the lighting. But you'll notice that once you like do like way more light than you ever think is possible, you'll notice your camera, like the quality of it improves. And then there's no shortage of YouTube videos with suggestions on where to place lights to, to show, to have some shadowy sections and some brighter sections, and in so doing, you can like make a more dynamic image. Have some stuff far away from you, like the lights, so they get all blurry and sexy like that. And so just little tricks like that, where if you consider the environment you're in, put a light kind of slightly off to the side and up ahead of you, and then one really bright light off kind of behind you. It gives you all this, and yeah. So there's like a lot of fun stuff that you can do just with stuff. That's a desk lamp. That's a desk lamp. Nothing fancy. We did wind up investing in cameras, so this camera is
Yeah.
is a nice camera, but you can make some really great images just with what you already have at home,
Yeah.
which is how we started. I mean, I started here with two computers networked together to do a show similar to what you're doing, and then eventually we got some more cameras.
Yes.
But yeah, lighting is really important.
There are numerous videos you can watch and learn about it. Yeah, and moving things around. I'm limited by the amount of space I have here right
Sure.
now. And
Well, you look
today,
nice too. You got a really nice, interesting background going on. So that's a big.
That took me. The barn board was sort of on the wall,
Okay.
but this is the garage office, and so in the
Okay.
winter it's only like 20 degrees out here,
Oh
and
no.
in the summer it's 80 degrees out here. So
Yeah.
there's no air conditioning. So I have
Right.
so there's the trick, is to put fans that you can't hear
Right.
where you are. Hopefully,
No, I
So-
can't. I can't hear him.
that's the
Okay.
that's
What's
other
the
thing.
story with the half guitar with like that
Oh, you can. I
guitar
got to
kind
move
of
this
popping
way.
out? Yeah.
So that guitar was made. My friend Emily Meixel worked at in the custom shop at Martin Guitar.
Okay. Cool place
And
to work.
right, and so one of her jobs. She had worked many of the jobs there. She unfortunately she passed away last year, but before
Sorry.
she did, she had some things that she was like, "Do you want this?" And she has the other half, and she made a birdhouse out of it.
Oh wow.
So
So it's
for
like two halves of a best friend locket.
it
You know,
kind of
that kind of.
is. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So
that's
about
cute.
a year ago, I just had it sitting around the house, and it would set was like on a shelf, and I moved it around. And then when this happened, I thought it's perfect. I'm just going to
Yeah,
hang it on the wall,
it's really cool.
and yeah, and that's so I can change that background if I need to, depending on what,
Mm-hmm.
and put some new posters up. I got my Chris Smither down here in the corner, and I got some
I see him.
um,
What's that?
Grace
One from the
Potter.
Fillmore? Yeah, from the
Yeah, that's
Fillmore.
Grace Potter up there, and
Godfrey.
then
I have that same Martin fingerstyle guitar
yeah, yeah,
bumper
yeah.
sticker.
And then off to the
Cool
other
stuff.
side, I don't, you might see it here. This I
Uh,
had to move in different
Melissa
ways. Okay, so I
Etheridge.
have that. So you see, this is a funny story. This Melissa Etheridge poster. I
Yeah.
had taken a picture of the studio, and I put it out on Instagram. Excuse me, and then tagged Melissa Etheridge. Well, when you put things out on the internet, there are
Anybody
people
can
who
see it.
search hashtags.
Yeah.
So Melissa Etheridge fan club saw the picture and they said, "You know, that was not even a real show. They just made those posters
Whoa.
and it wasn't even a real show." Well, a week later, I was watching Melissa from her home live stream, and that same poster was on the wall in her house.
Whoa.
Yeah,
There you go.
not a real show, a
Not a real
fake
show.
poster. Interesting.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's neat.
So,
It's like a little
ah,
Easter egg found in the background.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, so what I've been learning from a lot of people, most of the people I talk to that come on are those who are sort of like trying to figure out what they're going to do because they can't perform, they can't teach, they can't
Yeah.
in their environment. Some of them are school teachers or whatever, so they're just talking to me from their their living room or their desk, and a lot of them from the front porch with
Yeah.
family walking by in the background and all of that. So um, one of the issues of being here in the house, which you don't have in the theater, is that at approximately 7:15, my next door neighbor started up the lawnmower. Could be, but we're not hearing it. So, but those are
No,
the
I'm not hearing it.
those are the things we worry about doing this stuff from
Yeah.
home. Yeah,
I know. It's
yeah. So I want to get down to the nitty gritty,
mm-hmm.
because we're all, we've all got our stories as to what happened. But can you tell me about that moment when you realized that you were going to have to close the theater, close Sellersville Theater indefinitely, and then
Yeah.
prepare for this shutdown?
Yeah. Yeah, we were actually in a staff meeting. We were headed over to or we well actually. So my wife and I took a trip to San Diego, um, and we were in San Diego the week that one of the first cases was in San Diego hospital. So we started hearing about it maybe like a week or two before um, it like kind of really took over, and it was right around that like March 12th or 13th where obviously it had been kind of you've been seeing it in the news, like a couple cases over there, a couple cases over here, and we're like, is this gonna be a thing? And then me and our general manager Don Slade and I met in the lobby on our way over to our weekly staff meeting, and we were kind of looking at each other. I was like, I kind of think this is gonna be a thing. And she was like, yeah, I think so too. And it's like, we sort of have this philosophy over here where it's like we're all kind of like quietly make contingency plans. We don't like talk about the big problem. We kind of understand. We're all thinking about that, the rain that might happen on the day of our big event. And so we all kind of have our own contingency plan, you know, because, and then it's like, okay, let's make a plan. Let's come together. We'll talk through all the concerns. We'll make a plan. And then that way it will never happen. Because if you have a plan, the bad thing won't happen. And so we went to the staff meeting sort of thinking like, all right, let's maybe broach the coronavirus topic, and that way it won't become a problem. And we walked in and just all of us were like, yeah, this is going to be a thing. Let's shut down for 2 weeks. And that was the day. I can't honestly remember if the governor's orders that we had to shut down for 2 weeks came in, or if we just decided to do it. But we decided to shut down for 2 weeks, and it it was a big deal because we had a full we were doing like we were doing like 5 or 6 nights a week. Um, and so the show on the 13th, it was Friday the 13th, appropriately. Uh, we did the show that night, and you can go back and read in the notes. Our staff leaves notes after every show, and it was like it's weird to think we may not be back in the theater for 2 or 3 weeks. In the meantime, that was now what 5 months ago. Um, but yeah, so we shut down for that 2 weeks, and in that 2 weeks, we all were just kind of scratching our heads like, okay, what are we gonna do? And we bumped all the shows and rescheduled all those shows, and then the horizon just kept moving. And so while we never did a full shutdown, we just kind of did. I heard Aaron McCune call it the COVID two-step, the whole postpone, reschedule, postpone, reschedule, postpone, reschedule. And then the second wave of like shows that had rescheduled, their dates come, and we have to postpone and reschedule it again and again and again, and it's this constant train. So we furloughed a lot of our staff, I think is the appropriate term. A lot of our hourly staff members are out there until recently collecting that unemployment with the $600 additional government money. And the full timers here at the theater have stayed employed. We've stayed working. Our marketing director obviously is working overtime, getting messaging out. Our entertainment director, who's our head booker, Bruce, he's working way overtime trying to keep on top of this train of rescheduling and cancellations. And our general manager, Dawn, is working in the box office, communicating with ticket holders. It's actually been a lot of work for those of us still here just to keep things moving. And so then I was there wondering what my contribution was going to be, because without shows, my job over here is I handle pretty much everything after the booking is confirmed. So I handle contracts, I handle all artist communication, all staff arrangements or show staff arrangements, and then I work a number of the shows themselves, teching. But once I had contacted all the people in that time frame about the cancellations, and canceled the hotel rooms, and canceled the hospitality, and canceled the backline rentals, then it was just, okay, well, now what do I do? And had this, like everybody, feeling of powerlessness, of like, what are we going to do in this time? Obviously artists, and engineers, and all of the support staff for concerts are hurting and jobless, and so it just, what I was wondering what I was feeling powerless, and so where do I have power? And I thought, well, we've got a room full of technology sitting here, that, like an instrument, right, is meant to be played. So it just kind of came in and started wondering, okay, well, what can I do with the tech that's here? I'm the tech director, damn it. I'll direct some technology and try to put something together that, maybe can, well, at least in the future, it seems likely that technology will have a part to play. So let me come in and familiarize myself with live streaming, and familiarize myself with Facebook Live, and with what it takes to plug a sound system and a soundboard into your computer to get it on a live stream. And it seems like it'll be easy. Turns out it's not. And just then the process of troubleshooting and trying to figure out all this, and trying to find a path through, like, okay, all right, now that I understand how to put an image and some audio on the screen, what do we want to do with it? Do we want to just have concerts? Do we want to have artists come in? Well, no, we because at first we couldn't do that, um, and so anyway, then the show was born, and well, anyway, so that was
Wow.
in there was the answer to your question,
Oh,
but
that and leading to more. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
so it's basically we all just hustled for a few weeks and then realized that it was going to go even longer, and then we started adjusting to this new normal,
Mhm.
and we're still figuring out. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
wild west. Nobody knows what the hell's going on or how long it's going to last, or but
And I think one of the things we noticed in the months March, April, May is that
mm-hmm.
even with the, I know just from my perspective at Godfrey's, we were canceling shows in the short term, but then
Yeah,
wondering about, well, how many should we cancel? How far out should we take them
sure,
down off the website? Should we leave them on the website? Should we take advance sale tickets? How much of this are
exactly.
we going to have to refund? And then it became, okay, the tours are being canceled. It's out
Yeah.
of our hands.
Oh yeah.
Nothing
Then
we
it's
can
like
do.
exactly. Then it's like, and then all of the once venues have canceled, then the whole tour goes away, and it's going to be the same thing in reverse on the other side.
Hmm.
Until enough places have opened up, those tours aren't going to come back,
No.
right? And even if they could come back, people are going to have so much concern about the way the different states are handling all of these safety things that, like, I don't know. It's
And will the
the
artists be able to travel from state to state?
all of these are
When
excellent questions.
all the questions, we have a million of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's sort of a unique situation because it occurs. I suspect that the smaller venues of the world are kind of in a unique position to sort of set the tone moving forward, because I think it's probable that we'll be able to get back into business before the larger venues,
Hmm.
what with lower overhead, lower capacities,
Yeah.
um, and probably more local artists who aren't planning a whole tour
Yeah.
and routing. So
Yeah.
it's an interesting place to be in that it's this tremendously chaotic situation, but out of all of that, becomes there's a lot of opportunity, and it's interesting to look. It's been an interesting time to look for those opportunities, sort of in all of this craziness.
And a place like Sellersville has, you have membership.
Yes.
So I'm going to bet that your members, your donors, your regular donors, your members, your sponsors are still being supportive, financially
Oh
supportive
yeah,
throughout all this.
we can't say enough good things about our members and our sponsors. They are a huge part of our success from year to year. And oh,
Yeah, we lost your video. We
you
can
lost
hear
my
you.
video.
We
You
can
can
hear
hear
you.
me.
Yeah.
I'll work on that in a moment.
Okay.
Cut back to that moment where I said that there's a tech
Tech.
problem
Yeah.
at every
Yeah.
single show. I'll troubleshoot that in a second, but
Yeah.
yeah, I was just gonna say our members and our sponsors have been tremendously supportive, and we're always looking for more. So come on aboard.
Yeah.
We'd love to have more of you.
It's true.
All
And
right, you
I'll
you
talk for
keep
a sec.
talking
Yeah. Yeah.
while I
Yeah.
try
Yeah.
to get my video back up.
I'll take myself in here. Yes, one of the things that I know that there are multiple small independent venues in this region alone. They're all across the United States, but in this region alone, we have Godfrey Daniels, we have Sellersville Theater, Mock Chunk Opera House. Um, um, these are just small theaters. We'll also bring in Touchstone Theater into that. Uh, there's probably several of them in Philadelphia, um, and moving on beyond Club Passim, Cafe Lena, the Arc in Michigan. So many of these places are member based, and they rely on the membership. They rely on donations. They rely on the local community. And from what I'm understanding is those people are still becoming, and they're being more generous than ever during this time, because they're already in a position to support these venues because they love it and they want to have the community involvement and they believe in it. But there's also that feeling of benevolence and philanthropy that is just sort of an outpouring at this point in time. And what I know of, and I know plenty of people who are members that they overlap. For example, they're a member of Sellersville Theater, they're a member of Godfrey Daniels, they're a member of Arts Quest, they're a member of Mark Chunk Opera House, but they're overlapping those memberships. And they're I know that they're all doing their best to continue to support. And that would bring up a point. For those of you who don't know about this, there's an organization. It's an organization. It's more of an organized movement. It's called NIVA, NIVA, National Independent Venue Association, and the website for that. And I do encourage you to take a look at that. I got to get back to the actual website to find out what that URL is. But if you just put in your search bar, put in NIVA, National Independent Music Association, you'll find the website for that. It's going to list hundreds of venues across the United States that are banding together for congressional support, getting funding from from Congress to continue to fund the arts and to maintain, and not because we're going to be the last. These venues are going to be the last things really to open up. And they don't have that corporate backing. They don't have any of the. They don't have share owners. They don't have tech companies. They don't have all of that stuff, and they're going to need some extra help, to get back into the game. So there will be you'll see some links on that NIVA website, which will encourage you to contact your legislators. And I encourage everybody to take a look at that and do what you can to be a part of it. And
That web address is
yeah,
nivassoc.org.
there
So
we go.
NIV, National Independent Venue Association. So
Yeah.
nivassoc.org.
Yes, and they've been quite what's the word? I don't want to say diligent. It's more than diligent. They are like I don't know where these people came from and who's these people are working more than full time
Mm-hmm.
to get through to the legislators to make this happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we're all doing our part to share that information and see what we can come up with.
Yeah, absolutely. And we wish them luck. I mean, we're
Yep.
we're supporting them as much as we can,
Yeah.
amplifying the message, and hopefully they can do something. I mean, government's got a lot of important stuff to do right now, and
Well,
I hope we're part of it. You know,
we have to be. I had this conversation. I don't know, maybe you do know Ramona Murray
Labar.
from Godfrey's, and we were talking in the beginning because we were in the process of applying for the PPP
Mm-hmm.
grant, and in looking at what seemed important and what seemed essential and what seemed really like in need of money, we always say, well, are we though, or should we be more humble? Is this what are we? And I had to stop and say, well, we're an employer.
Mm-hmm.
We're all employers. So as long as we're here providing jobs for the community, and plus the
Yeah.
artists that are traveling and the
Yeah.
staff that they
Exactly.
have,
Right.
there's that's part of the economy, and and
Sure.
and we have to find the importance in all of that.
Yeah.
So, well, I'm glad you're
Totally.
back.
Totally agree with you. Thank you.
You got those things fixed.
Yes. It's a
Whatever.
power cable falling unplugged over there.
Oh,
So I've taped
go.
it. I've taped it in.
So when you started to determine how you were going to handle the live stream,
Yeah.
did you have multiple options in your mind? Because I think you've been doing a couple of different models, right?
Um. Yes. Okay. So, right. So the couple different models. I knew the first step was just figure out how to do it, and then figure out what to do with it, and so it. As I was sorting all this out, I was watching all the live streams that people were doing from their bedrooms, and it occurred to me that at any time a patron could tune in and see an artist that they loved for free, and And when you have that kind of access, it made me really stop and say, well, what's a venue's role in that relationship?
Mhm.
Like if we're going to do something, if I'm going to do something here, what is it that I'm going to do that's going to contribute to this? Because if I insert myself into that immediate relationship, I'm just like what, splitting the money that the artist would have received. That's no good. I don't want to do that. I don't want to cause like be friction in the experience from the the patron to the artist. We don't want to get in the way of that, and it can be that direct. But it occurred to me that like people were going to start getting fatigued by the audio quality and the video quality, and so it was like, okay, so maybe what the venue is ostensibly we have maybe we're farther down the road in obtaining higher quality audio and video, and so that's kind of what I put my focus on. And is it's like, all right, let's if I'm going to get into this game, I gotta raise the bar. I gotta be doing something that's a
Mhm.
few clicks above what somebody. I mean, I got all this right. So if I can't use this to make something that's a few clicks above what most people are capable of in their bedrooms, then I shouldn't be doing it. And so um, the idea of the and similarly the concept of the show having the conversation and the music was also a way to set it apart, so we weren't competing with that sort of the immediacy of artist and patron, just watching the patron or watching the artist in their living room. Um, that was like a very intimate, just like I'll tell you a story and then I'll play you a song. I was like, okay, so if we want to disrupt that a little bit, I want to have some conversation. I'll do some research, so I'll add to that a preparedness. If the streams from an artist's living room are very spontaneous, then maybe what I'll do is I'll go the other way and like have it be a very prepared. I'll do some research. I'll try to have some thought provoking questions, and I'll try to amplify it in that way, contribute to the show, and sort of set the artist up to brag about themselves, which
Yeah.
you know a lot of artists maybe aren't comfortable doing that, or maybe they
Yeah.
feel a little gung shy about asking for donations at
Mhm.
every break, right? Hey, a host can do that. I can do that pretty, with no apologies. I can be like, hey, support this artist.
Yeah.
Get him, get him. And so those first couple of shows was an experimentation with that format, and it worked pretty well. And it so that was a long answer, but the you asked about the different presentations of live stream, and then the intention was always that at some point we'd probably put the stream behind a paywall and sell tickets to it. And we're kind of thinking about that now. It's like I knew it sort of had to get to a certain quality and a certain level before it
Right.
would be worth paying for. And now that we're there, or now that we're, arguably at that level, it's like I don't know. I don't know if that's the right model, because I feel like we're still in the place where people are likely going to be more generous in a pay what you please setting
Yep.
than they would be if, like, I sort of think right now, like even a $5 or $10 ticket price, which devalues the product. I think if you set your
Mhm.
price too low, it's actually devaluing the product. You're even just that little bit of friction of the $5 entry fee is more friction than most of the shows out there, and so people are going to go and watch something else for free, and they'll catch this artist tomorrow night for free somewhere else. It's like, all right,
Th- those are really the exact same thought processes that I had
yeah,
in March, April, May, even today.
yep,
I even put those questions out to the folks on my own Facebook page, my musician page, saying, "What are you comfortable with? Pay what you will, a small ticket price." And there was one other option, and almost everyone said, "Pay what you will," but there were a
right,
handful who said a ticket would be good. I know myself, if I might not want to watch an entire event. It's fatigue. I mean,
yeah.
undoubtedly, we're all suffering from screen
We're gonna have
fatigue and
screen
all of
burnout,
this.
right?
Oh yeah,
Yep.
but there were a handful that even friends who I really wanted to watch to support them, And then I did want to send them $20,
Yeah.
$30, or whatever it might have
Right.
been, which is more than I would have ever paid for a ticket, even
Right.
in even in a live situation.
Right.
None of those people would have charged that much
Yeah.
for a ticket. But I know that there are people out there who are being generous right now.
Yeah.
Yes, very interesting. That whole thing about the what is our role as a venue? What
Yeah.
what could we bring to this? Yep.
Yeah.
And then
And
yeah, yeah.
well, what are your thoughts on that? I'm interested because I know what my thought process was, but um I mean, how would you answer that question? I mean, we're on your show, so obviously you made a choice here, but how did you get to this?
To do this program,
Yeah, what led you here?
um beyond having screen fatigue, I was just complaining a lot about the less than mediocre. You kept using the term, someone in their bedroom, which is what I was referring to as well. People really just were just sitting. I mean, a couch, something on the couch in the living room is nice. There's a coziness to it. There's
Yeah.
your and when I would do my own, when I would present I had a couple of them that I performed over a month or so ago, and those were one was for a First Friday event here in Bethlehem. So it was like the first Friday of the South Side. We are going to give you virtual live music. So it was that.
Hmm.
So the way I approached it was, hello, folks. I'm welcoming you into my home,
Yeah. Oh,
and then
that's
I'm
nice.
giving you. So it's almost like you're in my house for a house concert,
Yeah.
but you're sitting in wherever you're comfortable.
Right.
That was my approach to those, and I even said those words, like, welcome to my home, and this is what we're doing, um, and kept them brief. I
Hmm.
I didn't even want to go over a half an hour, but there was one where people kept asking for more. So okay, I'll play a little longer. I'll play a little longer, but I really didn't want to push it to an hour or any more than that, because I I don't know anybody would sit for that long, for unless it's someone that again, your audio quality and your video quality are great. I don't know that you could sit for that long and really be engaged. It's
And what was your setup at that time? Was it your laptop or your phone or whatever?
Yeah, actually, I've been using the iPad at the time. So I would
Okay.
set up my living room. It's more of a parlor space, and I'd set up lights every single time. I would set up lights. I would set up the iPad. I would also have so that would be a Facebook Live, and then I would have my phone on the stand as well, and that would
Do like
have Instagram
Instagram.
Live.
Yeah.
Yes, and at some point, I might have even had a third one going, so that I could keep the file for myself and break it up into small pieces. I had one episode opportunity where I just made it a percussion workshop,
Cool.
and I was engaging with. I had people who were watching. There was like their entire family was watching, and I had them all go to the kitchen and get Tupperware and pots and things
Wow.
and shakers, and make a shaker with rice and beans and whatever else. And we were it's all archived. I did archive all of that on my YouTube channel,
That's
but
fun. I like that a
but
lot.
so that was an interactive with families, because these people, this was like in the first few weeks, and everyone was
Yeah.
just like, oh,
Going
what
stir
are we
crazy. Everybody's
doing?
scared. Right.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and then there was another where I called it connections and influences, and took songs that
Hmm.
my original works, and talked about the songs, maybe in retrospect, that had actually influenced the writing of those original
Oh,
songs. So I played them back to
that's very
back.
interesting. I like that a lot.
Yeah, and again, that's archived as well. So I tried to make those like workshop vignettes,
Hmm.
um, all part of this process. But eventually, it got to the point where I was like, all right, I'm kind of out of ideas, and there are a lot of people who are uh, not what is the word I'm looking for? Disillusioned by what this actually is. And I also had a lot of friends who were side players, who are not in a position. to do such a
Yeah.
thing. You know, they're
Yeah.
fantastic
Right.
musicians, but they're not in a position. The singer songwriter can come out and do this. The bar entertainer can
Right.
come out and do it, but you know,
Yeah.
those people are not. They're like, well, nobody's going to really want to watch me sit and play the drums for an hour.
And here's the bass line to this song that I know.
Yes.
Right.
However, and maybe you have seen this. You know George Rabb, the drummer from Philadelphia Funk
Yeah.
Authority. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you saw that I had talked with him in the first week.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah. I
a couple
enjoyed
of
that
days
talk.
ago, did you see his?
His Ringo thing.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Right. So
It's
George.
great.
Now, of course, that was an essay for one of his conferences that he did, but
Mm-hmm.
he found a way to like. I was just like, oh my gosh, this is
It's
awesome. I
fantastic.
loved it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and
It
so
was educational. It was
oh,
entertaining.
entertaining, and of course he is all of those things, and I
Yeah.
trusted every word of it because I
Yeah.
know he knows what he's talking about. I'm going to show you. We have a comment here, Josh Kanuski
Hey, Josh.
saying
How are you, man?
hi. I'm trying to schedule something with Josh. Josh used to play drums with me when just playing locally and trying to make it, and now he's David Bromberg
David
band
Bromberg.
drummer, and he's pretty much home with the baby, his lovely wife Kelly, and the baby, and he's home.
Congratulations.
So I'm going to chat with Josh in a few weeks. We're trying to work something up. We'll see who else we'll bring on with him and make it a group
Cool.
conversation. I doubt that David Bromberg will be part of that. However, I'm sure Josh has some folks we can bring in. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Tina,
Hey, Tina.
one of your Sellersville volunteers, one of our Godfrey Daniels volunteers. She's telling us about Save Our Stages and the NIVA website as well.
Right. Thank you,
Um,
Tina.
yeah. So
Tina,
those,
I think I've seen Tina in the comment section at I think every show that we've done, and then I see her in the comment
yeah.
section of every show that I watch, and here she is again. Hi, Tina. How are you?
These are the people we're talking about. You
Well,
know?
these are those like cross venue just supporters of the arts.
Yeah.
A perfect example of somebody who's out there, supporting everywhere that she goes. So thank
Yeah.
you, Tina. And she's also a big supporter of the artist with her photography.
Mm-hmm.
And she volunteers here as one of our ushers.
As
So
an
she
usher.
volunteers in many ways. In
Same at
many
Godfrey's.
ways.
She's helps usher at Godfrey's as well. And those are those are the people
Yeah.
that when I'm talking about the small venues, those are volunteers, and we're going to
Right.
rely on them.
Absolutely.
When it all comes
Yeah.
back around. Um, yes. So we'll be talking with Josh in a couple of weeks. We'll see who else
Great.
we can get on with him. So we were where were we were talking about the plan and how I came to put this together. Again,
Yeah.
I was really just found myself complaining a lot
Mhm.
about the poor quality and the fatigue and every bit of it, and how I just didn't want to be a part of it myself. Um, and I thought for sure there were people just like me, but as I started to talk to friends who I thought would want to come on and talk, one or two of them just said, I don't have it. I can't. I'm just so upset. I'm just so devastated. I just can't.
Yeah.
I can't talk about it. We're a rock band. We can't live stream from our living room.
We
We
can't even
can't.
get together in a lot of cases
No.
to play together.
Right. And so that I had to turn that complaining into a community conversation, basically, and it just started to grow. Um, and then I decided that because I think through all of this, especially in the beginning, we were all a little bit self-focused on how this was going to affect us in particular, our family in particular, the job we do, our occupation, but there
Yeah.
were certain very personal um, effects from it all, and I kind of just sat there and thought, well, how do I broaden this and talk to people in other performing arts, because really that's what it came down to. And I called on some folks from Touchstone Theater up here in Bethlehem, and then that led me to comedy. I'm like, comedy's not happening.
Mm.
Improv comedy certainly can't happen because you got to get
Right.
groups of people together. And so I started calling on
Yeah.
friends and colleagues in the area, And they were like, yes, we would love to talk about that. And then, that just one thing led to another. And I thought, we've got schools, choral music is not happening. Band, instrumental band, like marching
Yeah.
band, all of that is not happening. Um, and then it became visual arts. I thought, I had a friend who's a teacher. She teaches choral music. Amy Putlock. She was on the second episode, and she was talking about how she and a couple other teachers were wondering how they could integrate the instrumental and the choral music with the visual arts and the students, and somehow get that stuff working together for the students. So, and that's how it just keeps growing.
Yeah.
And to see how this is impacting
Yeah.
people in the long term,
In the long term.
that we
Well,
can't
and
even come up.
what's what's common among everything that you have said there, and even going back to George and yourself, is um, again kind of out of the chaos of this moment, the folks who find a way to, or who have an idea that's a little out of the box, that the innovative thinking that like takes things off into a different direction. That's what's going to pave the path for all of us out of um, this swamp. Is you know well, when people, I mean, even just live streaming from your home, and um, that's, I'm sure that was a fairly new idea for a lot of people. We're probably coming on and doing it for their first time at the start of this pandemic,
Yeah.
and now it's when that becomes normal, now people who are have to find ways to innovate that, and then people
Yeah.
kind of follow that path, and it's just sort of human natural process of like innovating and following and innovating and following and innovating.
And
It's just
creating.
it's gonna
Are
be
you?
interesting to see how all of those different fields that you mentioned
Yeah.
adapt in order to survive this.
Yeah. Um, are you familiar with Susan Werner? Of course.
Hmm.
So have you seen Susan has her Susie on Sundays, and she was similarly to how you had David Jacob Strain and Bob Beach, how David was on the big screen. I had been
Yeah.
watching Susan with Trina Hamlin, who is often her side player on harmonica and percussion. So I know that one of them was in New York and one was in Philly. So I knew they weren't
Really?
together.
Oh, I gotta go check that out.
Yeah. So we were all wondering, how in the world is this going to happen? And I had seen them on a split screen, and I thought, how are they doing this? Cut to where you and I are here right now on a
Oh,
split
it was
screen, right?
StreamYard. Oh, gotcha.
I have no idea what platform they were using,
Oh.
and I still don't know exactly what they were using. However, they
Hmm.
would talk this way, and you'll see, it's quite funny. I don't want to give it away, but the way they worked out and got around the latency of not being able to play together, Susan pre-recorded the songs and the
Yeah.
videos, sent them to Trina, who had a large video monitor sitting right next to her. I mean, it was huge. It was, I heard, 47-inch, whatever. So Susan is on the screen playing the songs, and Trina is just playing a harmonica right there with her.
Awesome.
So that was
See,
the
that's
first.
clever.
That was the very
That's clever.
first. I don't know who was behind, the creativity on that one, but
Hmm.
I thought that was wonderful. Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
and um, uh, Christine Havrilla had a similar thing happen where she put out a video, and then I don't know who to give credit to first. I don't know if it was
Oh,
Keith or Dan, but
yeah.
either Keith Josa played it in the background and played along with it and videotaped himself with her in the background, and
Hmm.
then Dan added the next part, and so they sort of pieced together this
Yeah.
multi-track. And I've seen a lot of people doing similar concepts. Some bands, somebody sends out a reference track and everybody records their own
Hmm.
video of them playing, and then they put it together in a tile. Um,
And I
actually,
think there are a couple of
go
apps that people are using. I
ahead.
know someone
Hmm.
I know did that with a song. I was trying to get him to send me back one guitar part so that I could, because I wanted to really dig into my Adobe Premiere and learn how to do the
Mm.
video editing. And he didn't send it back to me. He just put it together with him playing three instruments, and he tiled it in the
Wow.
app on the phone.
Wow.
Surprise to me.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, I want to make sure that I don't know if this is the very first instance of this, but if you folks haven't checked out Eric Whitaker's virtual choir, that's the first time I'd ever seen somebody do something similar to this concept of taking many individual performances and stitching them together digitally. And this is maybe going back 10 years now. And he did a TED talk that's worth watching, and the whole thing is quite moving. And now he's up to his sixth version. But so then this idea of like doing these individual with a C actually, one T and CRE. If you don't, oh wait,
Okay, that's what I was just going to ask you. I want to make sure
I
I
just
spelled
saw it.
it
That's okay.
correctly.
But
Yeah.
it's just a really cool example of like the whole pre-recording thing. But I was in here at the beginning of the quarantine trying to solve this same problem. You asked about all the different reactions to, or all the different iterations of the live stream and what it could be. And one of the things that I had really hoped to do was devise a way to have bands play simultaneously with each other. And I came up with a way to do it based on this Eric Whitaker's virtual choir concept, which is where he sends out a reference conducting track. So he makes a video of himself conducting a piece, and then everybody at home, records themselves while watching him conduct, and so that way everybody's in sync. And so in a similar concept, I was thinking if I could be that conductor, and if I had a reference audio track for a band who was used to playing along with a click track or with tracks, and from here, from a sound booth, if I could send out to them a reference audio track that they each individually on individual FaceTime calls all played along with,
Yeah.
and then captured their performances back, it would theoretically be in time if you could then compensate for the various internet lags. And so I tried that, and it worked off screen. And then we tried doing it on camera, and it failed catastrophically, and we never tried it again. But it was like, how much time do I really want to spend on this? Because once we can be in the same room together, this is completely irrelevant. So I stopped chasing that dream. But
Yeah, I understand that. I totally get that. Yes, so there are numerous videos that have been started and abandoned by my own self. Yeah,
sure.
yeah. So this is all this is all, we're checking these things off, checking the boxes on every one of these things.
Yeah.
So we got a little bit of time, just a little bit left, and want to
Sure.
touch on how this, when you're you're there, you get to choose. You got to choose who you're going to present through your sound booth session, through any of the other live streams. Are you trying to, is this a time to make sure that we're making sure our members, for small venues like this, are we making sure our members are happy? Are they pleased? Are they getting input? Is it for the donors? Is it to try to bring in, now that we have a new platform and we're going to the internet, are we looking to bring in new audience? Is that a possibility? So this is just stuff I'm thinking about. Maybe you haven't thought about that.
No, I thought about it. I think about it all the time. And well, I'm trying to think how best to answer that question, because there's a number of different ways to go. I will start off by saying that one of my goals with the show, because I handle the booking and the coordination for the show, is to make sure that I am offering opportunities to the widest diversity of acts that I can offer, and that within those offers, there's as much equality as I can control. So now I can't control who replies back, but I can control who I offer to, and so I try to make sure that I'm offering. That is a commitment that I made early in the process, was that I was going to make a very deliberate attempt to make this as diverse of a show as possible. And I mean that across all the different dimensions of diversity. From did I just disappear again?
Yeah, you did.
Oh, Oh well. I'll fix it in a minute.
Okay.
Um, or I'll try to troubleshoot it in a minute. Um, but yeah, you know what? Honestly, we've collected such a roster of acts that we've worked with here at Sellersville Theater over the years. A lot of people who came in as support acts, who we've worked with so many times, and I wish I had more opportunities to offer them here on our stage. Like, there's only so many support slots, and we don't do co-bills all that often, and in some cases there's not even a slot for a headlining slot, right? So it was kind of it was like, okay, well, finally I have something else to reach out to these folks and say, hey, I got something new. Do you want to come on and try this thing? And then not only that, opportunity to work with some of our favorite folks, but then there's also new folks who I don't know if there's an audience for them here, but on the internet, we don't need to worry about that. We don't need to worry about the geography. Some people are too far away to bring in, but now over the internet, geography is irrelevant. And yeah, so it's been a very artistic opportunity for me anyway, in the booking of like, okay, well, there's really no limits in who I can contact right now and ask if they want to come on the show. So let me just try to find the people who I'm really interested in, and or have a really good rapport with, or just think would be a good show. And so it's been a nice opportunity in that way, and thankfully our audience and our members and our sponsors and our patrons seem to like it.
Yes. I think you answered that incredibly well.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. I know you're trying to get your,
And now
get your
I'm
face
back to
in here.
troubleshooting. This is
Yeah.
this is the curse of the host, Dina.
Yes.
Right? Is you have
Oh.
to troubleshoot while you're talking.
While you're talking, yes. So I'll let you. I'm going to let you do that, and we're I'll let you come back in just so that we can basically say goodbye. And I'm going to chat for a moment, and I'm going to tell the folks what's upcoming next Wednesday. Chris Matthews, neo folk songwriter and recording artist. Chris will be one of the featured acts for Lehigh Valley Virtual Pride, that is August 16th. That's going to be I believe it's like a full day of live stream. Lehigh Valley Pride, and that would be I'm going to type this up here right now. That is the Bradbury Sullivan LGBT Center here in Allentown. And quickly, Bradbury Sullivan LGBT Center, because this is important for you all to know. So that's coming up. There we go. And Chris Matthews will be here in advance of that next Wednesday. We'll be talking, and she'll be playing some music. And then after that, on August 19th, Mike Nelson is the Senior Director of Marketing at Martin Guitar, and he's hosting or presenting something called Jam in Place from the Martin Guitar Facebook page. I assume. I don't know if that goes out over any other platforms as well. And then on September 9th, Aaron Elkasov, Jennifer Hankerson, they are stand-up and improv comics from here in the Lehigh Valley. We're going to see if we can get a little bit of improv over the live stream. We'll see how funny we can get that during that time. I always want to test this latency thing. If we clap 1, 2, 3, clap, does it? How does it work? 1, 2, 3, clap. We'll do one. Oh, hold on. We'll clap on. We'll 1, 2, 3, clap. Okay.
Got it.
1, 2, 3, clap. Oh no! See, it's
Oh,
not.
no.
It's 1, 2, 3, clap.
Got it.
1, 2, 3, clap. See, it doesn't work. 1,
Wow.
2, 3, clap. See,
Yeah,
that's
we're a little off.
how off it is from
Well,
me
because
to you.
the video has a little bit of lag, and then it has to
then
go over the internet, and then the video, and then yeah.
Yeah, it's so silly. All right. So, thank you very much
Oh,
for
thank you, Dina.
spending this time with me, and maybe I'm not too hopeful. I'm supposed to be opening for Katie Tunstall in December.
Well,
Um,
when the show happens, whenever it happens,
whatever
we'll keep
happens,
throwing the new date
let's
at
see.
you, right?
She just played a live stream for Music Fest last night, I think it was.
Oh,
So
wonderful.
yeah, so she's out there. All right. Well, thanks so much for talking, and I
Thank you,
really
Dina, and
did enjoy it.
thank you for the show. You've been enjoying your episodes. These conversations are great. It's very important to hear the different perspectives on this whole
Yeah.
thing, and
Yeah.
we're creative people, so all that collaborative juice needs to go out, and together we'll
Yes.
patch together a new future
Yes.
to navigate all this.
Somehow. Well, I hope I'll see you soon enough.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you very much.
I do also ask everyone if we can attempt a high five, and you'll see how it's like impossible. Right? It's not. There we go. That's
Wow,
you're better
that
than
is
me. at
way harder
this.
than it looks.
Looks.
Oh my goodness.
You got it. Okay,
Goodness.
that's the
All right.
best I've done so far. All right.
Great. Nice
Well,
job.
thanks very much.
Thanks,
I'll
Dina.
talk
Great
to you
job.
soon. See ya. Bye, y'all. All right, everybody. I have not asked for this before. However, this is taking hours and hours of time, and I do appreciate it. Donations for the program are graciously accepted, and 10% will be donated to Turning Point of the Lehigh Valley. You can send anything you'd like to paypal.me/Dina Hall 2020. There's an L missing in there, so I will have to fix that. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next week. I'm out of here.